Well, we welcome you to the Way of Wisdom, and we're working our way through Proverbs chapter 11. What a rich passage this chapter is. It has a lot to do with integrity and righteousness, and how our righteousness affects other people, and when to conceal a matter, or maybe when to go to that person in person and talk to them about an issue. But now we want to talk about the merciful man, and there's some other passages that we're going to look at. But let me read for you, starting with verse 17 of Proverbs chapter 11. The merciful man does good for his own soul, but he who is cruel troubles his own flesh. Let's just deal with that for a moment. It says, the merciful man does good for his own soul, but he who is cruel troubles his own flesh. Now, in the place of mercy, let's substitute the word forgiveness or forgiving. The forgiving man does good to his own soul. And isn't forgiveness a part of mercy? Extending mercy to someone else who is in need, or maybe even someone else who is in error or sin. And yeah, we want to extend mercy to them. We want to go to them, try and help them, and to restore them. But certainly we ought to have a forgiving spirit, not a cruel spirit. Now notice it says, the merciful man does good to his own soul. And I'd like to include in that the forgiving man. Someone once said that to be unforgiving to someone else is to be like the man who took a bottle of poison and drank it himself and expected the other person to get sick and die. No, the poison that's in you is going to destroy you. And being unmerciful, unforgiving, unsympathetic, that is a poison within ourselves that is destroying our own soul. The best thing you can do is to be merciful. And for Jesus' sake, and for your own sake, as well as for the sake of the other who offended you, be forgiving. So let's look at that verse again. The merciful man does good to his own soul, but the cruel troubles his own flesh. You know, if you want revenge on people, or if you're bitter and you're holding resentment, or you have a little pet grudge you're nursing along, like he's a little animal pet you have, this is my grudge, I'm going to feed it. I'm going to keep this grudge alive. No, you know what? You're troubling your own soul. You're being troubled to your own flesh and your own well-being. Notice it says, but he who is cruel troubles his own flesh. Maybe that's the source of some of our high blood pressure. Maybe that's the source of some of all the complications of our high anxiety living, is we don't know how to let go of those injustices done unto us. We don't know how to be merciful to those who perhaps have erred from the way and even hurt or hindered us. But rather we hold that grudge and we become cruel. Cruel meaning we wish them harm. We want to see them suffer and hurt. But you know who that attitude is really hurting? It's hurting the one who holds that attitude. If we're going to live on the way of wisdom, we got to be like Jesus, who even while he was hanging on the cross cried out, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He was praying for their forgiveness. He was indeed merciful, was he not? So remember this today, when someone has wounded you, or you're trying to get over someone's sin against you, go to the Lord and say, Lord, the forgiveness that you have given me and the mercy you have given me, help me now to give that out to the one who has wounded or hurt me. It's not to say that you excuse their sin or make light of it, but you don't hold it in and become a cruel person yourself. So the thought for today is really, really simple. Verse 17 of Proverbs 11, the merciful man does good for his own soul, but he who is cruel troubles his own flesh. Well, may you be merciful, forgiving today, even as you've received mercy and forgiveness from Jesus. For this is the way of wisdom. God bless you.
You are worthy of it all.